On a quiet Tuesday night, Stephen Colbert did what no other host dared to do. He looked Donald Trump straight in the eye on live television and blew the lid off the biggest, dirtiest family secret in American politics. What started as a surprise Donald Trump appearance quickly turned into a brutal, no-holds-barred takedown as Colbert calmly dropped DNA proof, hidden recordings, and handwritten letters that exposed Trump's darkest lie right in front of a stunned studio audience and millions watching at home. By the end of the night, the president was screaming, tearing evidence to shreds, and storming off stage like a man whose entire empire had just been set on fire. It was supposed to be just another Tuesday night episode of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. But the tension started the second the show began. Colbert stood behind his desk with that easy smile he always had, looking like he was just getting warmed up. Then, without any warning, the side doors swung open. Donald Trump walked straight onto the stage. The laughter died instantly. He was striding toward Colbert's desk with that familiar confident smirk, waving at the stunned audience like he owned the place. A few people started clapping nervously, but most just stared in shock. Colbert didn't miss a beat. He gave a small smile, but his eyes sharpened. Trump stopped in front of the desk, still standing. He didn't sit down. Instead, he raised his hand and spoke in that loud, sure voice everyone knew so well. "I'm here tonight to clear up some of these crazy rumors. A lot of fake news out there, folks. Very unfair, but I'm setting the record straight right now." The room went dead quiet. Colbert leaned forward slightly, looking Trump right in the eyes. He didn't offer a handshake or a casual welcome. He didn't even invite him to sit. Without wasting a second, he hit hard with the first question. "Mr. President, what's your real relationship with Ivanka like?" The words landed like a slap. A few people in the audience actually gasped out loud. Trump's smirk froze for half a second. He let out a short, awkward laugh, trying to play it off. "Well, Stephen, Ivanka and I have a tremendous relationship. Fantastic. People are saying all kinds of wild things, but it's all nonsense. Fake news. Very unfair to the family." Colbert didn't smile back. He just looked at Trump calmly. Then he did something that made the tension skyrocket. He stayed completely silent. Trump shifted his weight, waiting for Colbert to fill the awkward gap, but Colbert didn't. The silence was heavier than any shout. Finally, Colbert spoke, his voice low and steady. "I have a witness who's ready to confirm something right now." Trump's eyebrows shot up. Before he could interrupt, Colbert turned toward the big screen behind them and gave a quick nod. The screen lit up with a live video call. A man in his late 40s appeared, dressed in a simple suit, looking straight into the camera. He had the serious face of someone who knew he was on national television. Colbert asked him clearly, "Do you swear that what you're about to say is the truth?" The man nodded. "I do." He took a short breath and continued, "During my time at the White House, I was in the room when President Trump referred to Ivanka as Barron's real mother. He said it directly, in private." The studio exploded. People shouted. Some jumped in their seats. Others covered their mouths in disbelief. Trump's face turned bright red. His confident smile vanished, replaced by pure anger. He pointed at the screen, then at Colbert. "This is ridiculous. Total lies. You're bringing on some nobody to smear my family on live TV." Then Trump forced out a big, loud laugh, trying to shake off the bombshell like it was nothing. He waved his hand dismissively and raised his voice so the whole studio could hear. "Come on, folks. This is classic fake news. They'll say anything to hurt me. I've got the best relationship with my daughter. Tremendous. We're talking about achievements here, not these ridiculous stories. The economy, the border, all the wins we had. Let's talk about real things instead of this nonsense." The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some muttered. Others waited to see what Colbert would do next. Colbert didn't interrupt right away. He reached under his desk and pulled out a single sheet of paper, an old email printed in color, dated 2006. He held it up so the cameras could catch it clearly. "Mr. President, maybe this will help jog your memory," Colbert said calmly. "This is an email you sent to Ivanka back in 2006. You wrote, 'She will be the perfect mother for him.'" He started reading the line out loud, slow and clear. The studio went completely silent. You could hear every word echo through the room. People leaned forward, eyes locked on the paper in Colbert's hand. No one was laughing anymore. Trump's face changed fast. His fake laugh disappeared. He shot up from his seat, pointing straight at Colbert. "You're lying! That's fake! You made that up!" he shouted, his voice booming with anger. It was the first real face-to-face clash of the night. Trump stood there, red-faced, breathing hard, while Colbert stayed seated behind the desk, completely calm. He didn't raise his voice. He just quietly flipped to the next page like he was checking his notes, letting Trump's outburst hang in the air. The audience held their breath. The tension felt thick enough to cut with a knife. Trump wasn't done fighting back. He pulled out his phone, waving it like a weapon. "I'm calling someone who actually knows the truth. Right now. Let's put this on speaker so everyone can hear how ridiculous this is." Colbert gave a small nod. "Go ahead, Mr. President. We'll put it on the studio speakers." Trump dialed quickly, his fingers jabbing at the screen. The call connected, and the voice came through loud and clear over the speakers for the entire audience to hear. "Yeah, what's up?" the man on the other end answered. Trump jumped in fast. "Tell them Barron doesn't look anything like—" Before he could finish, the guy on the line cut in casually, not realizing it was live on national TV. "Barron? Oh yeah, he looks exactly like her. You know who I mean." The words hit like a truck. Trump's eyes went wide. He slammed his finger on the screen to end the call. But it was too late. The damage was done. The audience erupted in shocked murmurs and gasps. Trump's face twisted with fury as he shoved the phone back in his pocket. Colbert leaned forward slightly, his voice still steady. "We also have a preliminary DNA report. It doesn't name the mother fully yet, but it clearly says her name starts with the letter I." Trump tried to laugh it off again, but this time his laugh sounded forced and his hands were visibly shaking. "This is all garbage. Total garbage," he muttered. But the confidence was cracking. That was when the audience started clapping, loud, hard, and growing louder by the second. The sound rolled through the studio like thunder. Trump stood there, breathing heavily, staring at Colbert while the applause kept building. Then Colbert reached under his desk again and slowly lifted up the first brown envelope. He didn't rush. He held it in both hands, turning it slightly so the cameras could see it clearly. The whole studio went quiet as he opened the flap and pulled out the document inside. "This is stage 1 of the DNA report," he said, his voice calm but firm. "It shows a 99.9% paternity match with the mother whose name starts with the letter I." The audience sucked in a collective breath. No one moved. People were literally holding their breath, eyes glued to the paper in Colbert's hands. The tension in the room was electric. Suddenly, Trump exploded out of his seat. He lunged forward toward the desk, arm outstretched, trying to snatch the envelope right out of Colbert's hands. "Give me that!" he yelled. Security guards rushed in immediately, grabbing Trump by the arms and pulling him back before he could reach the desk. Colbert didn't even flinch. He stayed seated, still holding the report steady, watching Trump with steady eyes. The president was breathing hard, face twisted with rage. "This is treason," Trump shouted at the top of his lungs. "You can't do this on live television. This is treason." The audience gasped and murmured wildly. Some people stood up halfway in their seats, shocked by the physical outburst. Colbert waited a couple of seconds for the chaos to settle, then spoke again, like nothing had happened. "I also have a second witness. This one is on recorded video from a doctor who actually ran the test for the family." He nodded toward the big screen. The video started playing. A middle-aged doctor in a white coat appeared, looking straight into the camera with a serious expression. "I was the one who handled the samples," the doctor said clearly. "Ivanka Trump was the person who provided the maternal sample. There's no doubt about it." Trump's face went pale. The red anger drained away, replaced by a ghostly white. He stared at the screen, mouth slightly open, like he'd been punched in the gut. For the first time that night, he looked truly shaken. Colbert let the video end, then turned back to Trump and asked the question everyone was waiting for. "Mr. President, would you like me to call Barron live right now so we can clear this up once and for all?" Trump's eyes went wide with panic. He shook his head fast, almost violently. "No, "Absolutely not," he snapped, his voice cracking just a little. The audience erupted. Cheers, shouts, and loud applause filled the studio. People were on their feet now, clapping and yelling. The energy was wild. Trump stood there breathing heavily, chest rising and falling fast, sweat visible on his forehead. His usual confident mask had slipped badly. He glared at Colbert, but the fight in his eyes was starting to look desperate. Colbert reached under the desk one more time and pulled out the second brown envelope. This one looked thicker. He held it up for a second so everyone could see it, then opened it slowly, deliberately. The studio was already dead quiet. He took out the document, scanned it once, and read the key line out loud, clear and steady. The report confirms that Baron Trump's biological mother is Ivanka Trump. The words hit the room like a bomb going off. People screamed. Some jumped out of their seats. A woman in the front row actually fell backward into her chair, mouth wide open in shock. The audience exploded with shouts, gasps, and chaotic noise. Phones were already coming out even though they weren't supposed to. The entire studio felt like it was spinning. Trump shot up from his seat so fast the chair almost tipped over. His face turned beet red, veins popping on his forehead. He pointed a shaking finger straight at Colbert. "You fabricated this. This is complete bullshit. I'll destroy you and this entire show," he roared, his voice cracking with fury. Colbert didn't yell back. He didn't even stand up. He just quietly slid the envelope across the desk toward Trump, letting it stop right in front of him. The move was calm, almost casual, which only made Trump look more unhinged. Trump tried to fight back the only way he knew how. He turned toward the audience, breathing hard, and started talking fast. "Folks, listen to me. We have a perfect family, beautiful family. Ivanka is an incredible daughter, and these attacks are disgusting. This is all lies from the radical left trying to—" Colbert cut him off mid-sentence by pressing a button. A short video clip started playing on the big screen behind them. The footage was clear. Ivanka holding newborn Baron in her arms, rocking him gently. Her voice came through the speakers, soft but unmistakable. "My baby, my sweet baby." The audio was crisp. No one could miss it. The audience lost it again, louder this time. Shouts and gasps mixed together as people pointed at the screen. Trump froze for a split second, staring at the video like he'd seen a ghost. Then he snapped. He lunged toward the nearest microphone, grabbing it with both hands, his face twisted in rage. This was the loudest he had been all night. "This is the biggest witch hunt in history," he screamed, spit flying. "They're coming after me, after my family with fake videos and fake reports. It's a disgrace." The studio descended into total chaos. Half the audience was cheering wildly, the other half was yelling in disbelief. People were standing, arguing with each other. The noise was deafening. Colbert stayed right where he was, arms folded across his chest, a small, calm smile on his face. He didn't say a word. He just watched Trump unravel. Trump spun around toward the audience, sweat dripping down his face. He raised both hands like he was at a rally and shouted desperately, "Folks, you see what's happening here? They're attacking me, attacking my family. Stand with me. This is all lies. Tell them." Some scattered claps came from parts of the crowd, but most people just stared, waiting. Colbert stayed quiet for a moment, then reached under the desk and pulled out the final piece of evidence, a handwritten letter in a clear plastic sleeve. He held it up so the cameras could zoom in. "This is a letter Ivanka wrote to you in 2010, Colbert said. He started reading it out loud, right in front of Trump. He can never know the truth. The words hung in the air. The audience went dead silent. Trump's eyes widened in pure panic. Before Colbert could finish the sentence, Trump lunged forward and snatched the letter out of his hands. In one furious motion, he tore the envelope and the letter to pieces. Paper flew everywhere, scattering across the desk and floating down onto the studio floor. It was total chaos, the biggest explosion of the night. Security guards rushed in from both sides and grabbed Trump by the arms, holding him back as he struggled. Colbert stood up for the first time that night. He looked straight at Trump, his voice cold and clear. "You just destroyed evidence in front of millions of people." Trump's face was bright red, breathing like he'd run a marathon. He yanked one arm free for a second and pointed directly at Colbert. "You're finished!" he screamed. "You're done! I'll make sure of it!" Then he ripped away from security, turned sharply, and stormed off the stage toward the back exit. His footsteps pounded loudly. The door slammed shut behind him with a loud bang that echoed through the studio. For 3 full seconds, the entire audience sat in stunned silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Then the room erupted. People jumped to their feet, clapping wildly, cheering, shouting, some even yelling, "Holy shit!" The applause thundered through the studio like a wave that wouldn't stop. Colbert sat back down slowly. He looked straight into the main camera, his expression serious but steady. "Tonight, we just witnessed history." He pressed a button on his desk. One final video played on the big screen, a former medical staff member who had worked with the family. The man looked nervous but spoke clearly. "I personally collected the DNA samples from both Ivanka and Barron. There was no question who the biological mother was." Trump was gone. The heavy backstage door had slammed shut, and the studio still felt like it was vibrating from everything that had just happened. Colbert stood up slowly, walked out from behind his desk, and stepped right into the center of the stage. The bright lights hit him as the audience kept clapping and cheering. He raised one hand to quiet them down a little, then spoke clearly into the microphone. "I didn't do this for ratings. I didn't do this to get attention. I did this because the truth matters. Tonight, the truth came out." The crowd roared again. People were on their feet, phones still recording, faces flushed with shock and excitement. Colbert waited until the noise dipped just enough, then nodded to his producer off stage. "One last thing," he said. "We have one final piece of audio that was never meant to be heard." He pressed play. A crackly phone recording filled the studio, unmistakably Donald Trump's voice on the other end of a call. "If the world finds out, it's over. We can't let that happen." The words hit hard. The audience jumped to their feet as one, screaming and applauding wildly. The sound was deafening. Some people hugged the person next to them. Others just stood there yelling in disbelief. The final hidden bomb had gone off, and it left the entire room shaking. Colbert stood there for a moment, letting the chaos wash over him. Then he looked straight into the camera and delivered the closing line with a small, satisfied smile. "Tonight, the envelope won." The lights began to dim slowly across the stage. The band didn't play the usual upbeat exit music, just the raw, nonstop sound of the audience clapping and cheering. The applause didn't fade. It kept rolling, louder and stronger as the screen gradually went dark. After the main feed cut, a short post-credit scene played. The camera showed Colbert alone backstage, the studio now quiet except for the distant murmur of the leaving crowd. He stood near a small table, staring down at the torn pieces of the brown envelope scattered there. He picked up one ripped fragment, turned it over in his fingers, and whispered softly to himself, "He'll be back. But the truth won't." The screen faded to black. White text appeared in the center. "To be continued."